The billionaire barely looked up when he asked the question. To him, it was just polite small talk. Something to fill the silence while waiting for his black coffee. But when the waitress answered, his hand froze midair. The room felt suddenly smaller. And for the first time in decades, a man who owned everything realized he had understood nothing. Stay with this story until the very end, because one simple answer will change a life forever. Ethan Blackwood was used to silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the obedient kind. Boardrooms fell quiet when he entered. Assistants spoke carefully around him. Even his mansion echoed with a stillness money couldn't fill. That morning, Ethan sat alone in a quiet café far from his usual luxury hotels. A delayed flight had stranded him in a small town he barely knew existed. The café smelled of burnt toast and old wood, nothing like the polished marble spaces he lived in, but he stayed. Something about the place felt real. The waitress approached his table. She couldn't have been older than 25. Simple uniform. Tired eyes. But there was a calm about her, steady hands, gentle movements, the kind of composure life only gives after hardship. She placed his coffee down carefully, smiling softly. "Anything else I can get you, sir?" Ethan glanced at her, then at the empty chair across from him. For reasons he couldn't explain, words slipped out before thought could stop them. "Are you happy?" The question surprised even him. Most people lied when asked that. He expected a polite answer. Something safe. But the waitress paused. She didn't smile wider. She didn't fake cheerfulness. She simply thought. "Yes," she said finally. "Most days." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Really?" She nodded. "Yes." That alone unsettled him. But then he asked the follow-up, the question that would undo everything he believed. "How?" She looked at him, really looked this time. Not at his expensive suit or watch, but at his face. At the tiredness he didn't bother hiding anymore. "Because," she said quietly, "I stopped measuring my life by what I lost." Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. She continued, unaware she was shaking the foundation of a billionaire's world. "I lost my parents young. I worked 3 jobs through college and still had to quit. I live in a shared apartment. Some days I come home exhausted and scared about the future." She placed a hand over her heart. "But I wake up every morning knowing who I am. And I go to sleep knowing I did my best for someone today, even if it was just pouring coffee." She smiled again, this time gently. "And you, sir?" she asked. "Are you happy?" The question landed like a quiet explosion. Ethan opened his mouth. Then closed it. He had no answer. For the first time in years, someone hadn't wanted his money, his approval, or his power. She hadn't recognized him. Hadn't flinched. Hadn't lied. She had simply spoken the truth. And it terrified him. Ethan didn't sleep that night. Her words replayed over and over in his mind. "I stopped measuring my life by what I lost." He had lost nothing, and yet felt empty. He had built his empire after his wife died suddenly years ago. Work became his refuge. His armor. His excuse. Success filled the space grief left behind, or so he told himself. But listening to that waitress, Ethan realized something painful. He hadn't healed. He had hidden. The next morning, he returned to the café. She was surprised to see him again. "I wanted to thank you," he said, sitting in the same chair. "For the coffee," she joked lightly. "For the truth," he replied. They talked. Really talked. Her name was Lily. She volunteered at a shelter on weekends. She read old novels from the library. She believed life wasn't about winning, but about meaning. Ethan listened more than he spoke. Weeks later, Ethan did something no one expected. He slowed down. He restructured his company to prioritize people, not profit alone. He funded scholarships anonymously. He opened community centers in towns like the one that stranded him. And one quiet morning, months later, he walked back into that cafe, this time without his suit. Lily noticed the change immediately. You look lighter, she said. I am, Ethan replied. I finally asked myself the question I asked you. And? He smiled, truly smiled. I'm learning. Lily nodded. That's enough. Years later, when asked in an interview what moment truly changed his life, Ethan didn't mention business deals or milestones. He spoke of a waitress. A simple question. And an answer that money could never buy.